2024 has been quite the year when it comes to pre-builds and building our gaming PC, and today we're going to be talking about our favorite builds and also what had the best price per point.
Welcome to the best gaming PCs of 2024, Toasty Bros Edition, where we look at all the builds we've looked at, pre-builds, building our own PCs, and any computer really, and we rank them using our price per point calculations we'll talk about here in a second, and show you all some of our favorites. But first, we gotta pay for some bills after a word from today's sponsor.
Listen, building a gaming PC is only part of the process. Once you finish planning your perfect gaming PC build to get the best price performance, you need to make sure to install and activate Windows 11 with today's video sponsor, GVG Mall. If you guys have been watching us for a while now, you know GVG Mall is our go-to way to save money on activating Windows. You know, getting the best price performance you can out of your gaming PC. It is super simple to get a Windows key from GVG Mall. Use our link in the description down below to find the Windows 11 key. Use code TB20 on checkout to save even more money, upping your price to performance game. Then you'll get a copy of the key sent straight to you. Take that key, throw it into a Windows 11 PC of your choice during the install process or after the install is done, and boom, you now have an activated Windows 11 with access of all the features it has to offer. Guys, friends don't let friends run unactivated Windows. Don't build the perfect gaming PC only to leave your PC unactivated. Use our link down below and use code TB20 on checkout and you'll save some money on your Windows activation. Big thanks again to GVG Mall for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to the video, shall we?
So when we say price per point, what we're talking about is 3D Mark Timespy. We have a really big Google Sheets where we keep all of our builds that we test, whether it's a pre-built or one that we built, and we basically have a simple calculation that goes through and finds us how many cents it costs per point of 3D Mark Timespy.
It's not a perfect system, it does have its flaws, but it's a good way for us to have a sanity check when we review a pre-built or build a gaming PC, that the PC we're building is actually good value for the money when we present it to you guys. Or the opposite, where if we look at one and we're like, wow, that's gonna be a bad cent per point, you will know which PC is not the best value on a very surface level. Again, it's not perfect, but it works for us for this video, and what we're gonna do is go over some of the PCs that rank the highest on our cent per point in terms of price performance, while also Jackson and I throwing in our favorite builds of the year to give you all a recap of the awesome PCs we either built or seen this year. And we're gonna dive into the first one by playing some of the videos that we did. This one was a fun intro that we had, but this right here is a $150 PC. And Jackson, what do you remember about this one?
Well, this was our number one. I think, what would we get, 3 cent?
It's a 2
cent.
Okay, so yeah, so
which
this
is
one,
like a record.
Yes, this one had a 2 cent per point score, which it was a trade-in at PC Bros, right?
This was the one that was a trade-in. I think they included like a, if I remember, like a box that had a bunch of old stuff with it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, so this is, I remember the spec, so we can actually check, we'll show you guys the benchmarks here, but the best part about this one was it came with a 1080 Ti, which if you guys know the 1080 Ti is a legendary GPU, and this was our first time messing with a 4930K, which was like old high-end desktop.
Yeah, like old extreme style CPU. The 1080 Ti is like a 2070 Super. Like that is an awesome card. Still holds up really well today, has a good amount of 11 gigs of VRAM and everything.
Yeah, it's pretty common with like a 3060.
Well, this is a good example of like, obviously most people could not replicate this. We're not telling you to try to replicate it. This was just one where having a PC selling business, we got really lucky where the customer borderline just wanted to give it away.
Yeah, and that tends to happen a lot of the PC business. So again, this one's a fun mention. It's not realistic for you all at home, and you'll probably see that with some of the pre-builts that we show you. A lot of them are deals that we found doing deal hunting and showing you guys videos on how you can deal hunt, and some of you at home might be able to find deals similar, but this one was a very fun one considering we got it locally, it came into the shop, and we were very impressed with the price performance we were able to pull off with this one.
So this one here was another really awesome build where we got really lucky. This one had nothing to do with the PC selling business, which is cool. This was just a pre-built where we were trying to build a essentially AliExpress like Xeon style system with a GTX 1070, but the eBay seller accidentally sent us to 1080.
Yeah, that's one of those, again, random things that can happen when you are buying stuff on eBay. We ended up with the 1080 for $85, which is just stupid price performance, especially with the Xeon combo. And with those Xeon combos, the GPU could definitely shine in 3D Mark. So again, when we say that that score is not a perfect system, if you have a really awesome GPU, which is a majority of the test, and your CPU is just okay, you could definitely inflate those numbers in 3D Mark. But this was still a really good price performance PC, and we were able to play Apex Legends, having no problems getting 120 FPS at times, and that 1080 is still a very viable card.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a looker, you know, wasn't the prettiest builds, but that's what a lot of times wherever we're going for like these crazy cent per points, you can't really think about looks at all. You just have to kind of go for it. and safety goes to the wall too.
Yeah, and no, I think this one too, we even said in the intro, I think we're like, if you guys want pretty PCs, this is not for you.
This is not
All right,
it.
guys, is this what
If you guys are really into aesthetics, this is not the PC build for you.
I mean, we were wrong
We
here.
weren't lying.
But it came in at number 2 with our second best sim per point score. And this one is a custom built computer. So getting that low of a score is pretty dang awesome. But yeah, this one was fun to build and turned out pretty solid.
And this is something that can also happen with eBay sellers. Like, let's say they did send a 1070 and it was more like a 4 or 5 cent per point. But let's say that the card had some damage or something where it worked, and you can get partial refunds. So that is something that can happen to you.
All right, next up we have an Alienware, which we found some stupid good values this year. Not even just this one, just buying used Alienware pre-builts, which you wouldn't think value and Alienware go well together, but buying used Alienwares is like really good value for money. This was like a 4 cent per point score with a 2080 Super and a 3700X that we got for $398.
Yeah, no, and it's actually a pretty good looking Alienware too. That's not like overly huge or anything, but yeah, we've been doing a lot of Alienwares lately. I know we actually have like some challenges coming up where we've used even more Alienwares, so they're just really good cent per point. The Gorilla.
The Gorilla be looking good. Yeah, but the only issue with Alienware, as we always say throughout the video, is you can get good price performance because people are just trying to get rid of them because there's not much you can do with them. You got to be careful though because the hardware is very proprietary. Some of the stuff you can swap out and fix, but for the most part, it's pretty locked down. So when stuff goes bad, it goes bad. So that's kind of what you're paying for. It's the same thing with like those CPU combos from AliExpress. Once that motherboard goes bad, you're kind of out of luck here. But with a modern like AM4 CPU, getting 200 plus FPS almost in Fortnite, we can play games like this is some old COD, but 100 FPS in Call of Duty.
That was the better COD. But yeah, no, I mean it's pretty impressive. So, and this is another one where no special deal. We just found it on eBay. It's not because we had a special account or anything. So it just goes to show that you guys can get pretty lucky if you do a lot of deal hunting. So this is another really good one where it's about a 4 cent per point with an awesome graphics card at 3080. So this is one where we actually bought the PC like this. So this is an old workstation. It's a Xeon where they basically put a 3080 in it because what's cool about the Xeons versus something like an old Optiplex is they came with really big power supplies and they often came with the connectors that you needed for graphics cards. They were really meant for workstation cards like Quadros and stuff, but weird guys like us and other people on eBay decided let's make them into gaming PCs and they seem to sell.
Versus when we first started the channel with Optiplexes, the workstations are the thing now. And I remember this is the one where they put the GPU on the lowest possible slot for some weird reason. We didn't know why. So we moved it up. Again, these sellers just have these office computers and they slap in a GPU and they just make it work. But it does, again, allow for a really high 3D Mark score and some really nice gameplay with an RTX 3080 at 1440p, getting 100 plus FPS, no problems. Pulling a lot of watts, so 300 watts. That's why you need those power supplies.
Yeah, and it's definitely a kind of system too where like this is a 1440p system. Like you almost don't even want to run 1080 because that is the kind of like holdback or trade-off is going to be the Xeon processor.
And I will say this one in particular, this workstation, we normally recommend the P520 route, and surprisingly P520 wasn't really high up on the cent per point because those do get a little more expensive nowadays because they're pretty popular. They were really cheap at the beginning, but now they're getting popular. But these Dell workstations also work great. It's really about deal hunting the actual workstation and then finding a GPU on the used market, throw it in, you're gonna get good value.
Yeah, one that actually works too. That's always the fun part with just anything that's office or business related is will everything work together?
Next up is one that we've actually bought a couple times, the Dell G5, which also got a really good cent per point score. It did come with a pretty decent GPU, the 5700 with the i3-10100. I believe it was an F or was it a non-F? It was a non-F. So with that, you're getting, well, somewhat modern hardware. 5700 is pretty close to like an RX 6600, but this is kind of like Dell's version of the HP Pavilion.
It's really interesting too. I remember even saying this in the video, like it's weird if they actually paired this from the factory with an i3. That's just not something you normally see these companies do. Normally it's the opposite. They'll do like a 5600G with like a 5500, where it can handle a much better GPU. But this time they said, nah, this CPU, it can handle the top.
Yeah, and this is one where, again, proprietary hardware pre-builts tend to get the best value on the used market. And if you are deal hunting, looking for these name brand proprietary ones that are about a generation or two older, is where you'll get good bang for buck. And in terms of the usual benchmark rotation, which again, older Warzone here. I love seeing these nostalgic Warzone benchmarks. I mean, the 5700 XT.
The movement was just so much more simple.
Yeah, this is gonna just turn into a Warzone reminiscing. We just miss non-omni movement. Does that make us
get kills.
Does that make us boomer? Let us know down below. I want to know the difference. But yeah, this was a good one. This is another good example of a ready-to-go pre-build that you can find for good price performance.
And this is a good example of if you can't find, the Dell, find yourself like a Pavilion or something like that. There's always going to be a pre-built that's kind of in demand, and it's going to go out of stock because honestly, people like us. And then there's going to be another one that pops up that you just have to find before a dumb YouTuber shout it out. And so now we're just going to both be talking about, we just got to pick one of our favorite builds of the year. Not necessarily for like the most maximum value, but for just the reasons that we liked it. So this was my favorite. This was a build that I had planned for Halloween. I called it the Spooky Gaming PC, Ryzen 5 7600 with an RX 7700 XT. Surprisingly though, it got a 7 cent per point, which is pretty solid due to the fact that we had Funko Pop, we had a sticker bomb, we even had sleeve cables, and I counted all that in the budget. So getting a 7 cent per point on like a custom build that I know some of you may argue is not custom, but it is in fact custom because we put stickers on it that no one else can replicate perfectly. So yeah, I just appreciate having a little bit of personality without making it over the top expensive.
Yeah, mods are super easy, and you guys at home, depends what you classify as mod. Again, we're calling this a mod. I will fight to that. We fought somebody on stream about that, twitch.tv/ToastyBros. You can debate with us about a bunch of stuff like that on stream, but it's a fun mod, and again, it performed very well. I mean, we got Snoop Doggy Dogg dropping into Warzone, getting good FPS with that 7700 XT and 7600. Old Warzone. Bring it back, please.
Yeah, this was, this build is just cool too because this is like your point of like, you can do 1080 and get really high FPS, or you can do 1440 and still get pretty respectable FPS.
And my favorite was a interesting one. It was actually very early this year in January when the 4070 Super was released. We built a price performance gaming PC around the 12600 KF. I really liked this one because it was very satisfying for us building a PC around a very high-end GPU that just came out, and all the other YouTubers are pairing it with really high-end modern CPUs. We took advantage of the 12600 KF being a really good price performance CPU, and it worked really well. We actually gamed at 4K with this, which is not what a lot of people were doing. We benchmarked at 4K, got a 7 cent per point score, which is still very solid, and also it turned out pretty clean. We're able to play the finals at 4K with DLSS, of course. That was the beauty of showing DLSS with the setup at 100 FPS, no problems. We played Warzone as well. We also played at 4K with DLSS on performance settings and got 100 FPS as well. So it was cool to show people what DLSS can do with this GPU and also stretch into 4K a little bit. But yeah, it was a fun build, very memorable because I thought it was really clean. The reference style 4070 Super is super aesthetically pleasing, all black with some white RGB. I think value and also the looks of this PC were really good for the money, and that's why this one was my favorite.
And we've heard, there's some other YouTubers who agree about this, but you don't need the Ryzen 9, you don't need the i9, you really don't even need the 7s. Honestly, if you're just primarily gaming, typically the i5s and the Ryzen 5s are like the best bang for buck when it comes to gaming.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this little recap of 2024 to show you guys some of the builds that we either purchased or built ourselves that are the best bang for buck. If there's a PC we forgot to mention that we either bought or built on this channel, let us know in the comments down below. We want to know what your all's favorites are, and look forward to 2025 where we're going to try to find the best price performance PCs we can.
So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
This MacBook will, no, I'm just playing.
Whoa!
Nah, this MacBook will not be for sale at PCBros.tech, but you remember how we talked about all those PCs this year? They had to go somewhere, and guess what? They go to PCBros.tech.
PCBros.tech. We sell the gaming PCs we feature here on the channel at great prices with 1-year warranties, and you can buy a bunch of them ready to ship at PCBros.tech. Use code ToastyBros on checkout. You'll save 3% on your next purchase. See you guys later. Bye-bye.